Hello, and welcome back to Get Up and Game, where we like to start every day off right with a game on the table. My name is Josh, and today the game on my table is Marvel Champions. And I've got a matchup today that I'm really excited about. We're going to be taking Nova against Drang in Expert Mode, so he's starting with a spear. And I'm going to be using a Justice deck I call 3-Card Stud, because it revolves around using these 3 cards that all let you draw 3 cards. And I'm really hoping to make good use of that to just draw a lot of cards and get a lot done with Nova. I chose Drang because it's a really fun matchup for Nova. Drang provides a lot of targets for Unleash the Nova Force. Hopefully you'll get to see what that does soon. And Drang and Expert provides a pretty strong challenge, and Nova's pretty good, so I'm really hoping this goes well. I haven't tested it, haven't had time to play a practice game, so I don't know how this is going to go, but I think it should be fun. So let's get the decks shuffled up and get started. As in my last playthrough, I don't have a Nova playmat, so I have littered the play area with things I think Sam Alexander would have enjoyed. He is a video gamer, so I've put out a few of my meager collection of video game consoles. I don't really play them much anymore thanks to playing this game constantly and obsessively, but I still have them, so it's nice to find a use for them. So if you haven't seen Nova, his whole thing is he has a helmet that he can go and search for at the beginning of the game and put it into play. And that helmet provides him a resource. And then on his hero side, every time you activate Nova by thwarting, attacking, or defending with him, you get to ready the helmet. So it's similar to Quicksilver and Friction Resistance in a way, but the timing is slightly different. But you should be able to get at least 2 uses out of the helmet every turn, and the helmet provides a wild resource, and many of Nova's cards key off of wild resources to get discounts. So I'm really hoping to do a lot of that. And then the Drang scenario largely revolves around this ship card that collects barrage counters every turn, and once there are 4, you do 2 indirect damage to each player and then take all the counters off. So Drang is constantly going to be putting pressure on by dealing extra damage. He also puts a counter on whenever he schemes, so I need to try to remember that, and apologies if I forget. I definitely forget a few things every time I do one of these playthroughs. I try to keep an eye on everything, but it's easy to miss things. If you notice anything I forgot to do or any mistakes I made, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Doesn't bother me at all. I really want all the people who watch these videos to be helped by those types of things. I'm not trying to make mistakes, but it's going to happen, so I want everybody to be aware of what should have been done correctly. All right, so in Alter Ego, we draw a hand of 6 cards, and I'm really liking the look of this hand already. So we draw 6 cards to open, but Connection to the World Mind is a special Nova card that says it doesn't count toward my hand size. So it's sort of as if this card isn't here, so I get to draw another card, which is Clear the Area. So a pretty nice opening hand. I also forgot to mention another reason why I like playing Drang with Nova, besides the fact that Drang is my favorite villain in the Galaxy's Most Wanted, and he's spacey, which themes well with Nova. He also comes with the Ship Command modular, which allows us to use the Milano support, which gives us a wild resource, which is really fun for Nova on the first turn because it guarantees that he'll be able to find his helmet. Now, I drew Connection to the World Mind, so I would have had a wild resource either way, so in case you think it's kind of cheesy to have access to that, it wouldn't have been necessary, but I don't mind having matchups that are particularly strong for the hero. I think it makes for a really fun game, and hopefully it will make for a fun video. So now I'm just trying to decide what I want to mulligan. I'm definitely keeping Connection to the World Mind because it's just a free resource. Definitely one way or another. It's unfortunate that we drew 2 of them because you can only play 1 a turn. But this scenario does have a lot of side schemes, so one way or another is a good matchup for Drang as well. I think I definitely want to keep Nick. So it's sort of the whole theme of this deck is trying to draw at least 3 extra cards every turn. And Clear the Area is going to help remove threat from the side scheme. You know, I think I'm just going to keep everything except for one way or another, which is another Connection to the World Mind. But since I've already drawn up to my full hand size, I don't get to draw another card. I should also probably finish setting up the scheme. So side 1A simply has us put the Badoon ship and Milano support into play. And then on side 1B, there is 8 threat threshold before it moves on. It starts with 2 threat per player and gathers 2 threat per player in step 1 of the villain phase. And it's telling me that after I put the threat on here at the beginning of the villain phase, I also have to put a counter on the Badoon ship. Every 4 counters deals me 2 damage, and I can exhaust the Milano to remove 3 threat from this scheme if I want to. So while it goes up faster than most schemes do in this game, you do have access to an easy way to remove the threat. So now I'm going to use Sam's Alter Ego action, spend 1 resource of any type to search your deck and discard pile for the helmet, and I get to add it to my hand, but if I spend a wild resource, I get to put it right into play, and I will take advantage of the Milano's wild resource to do that. Let's go find, there's the helmet. So it's a 1-cost upgrade, but I'm just going to get to put it into play for free. It gives Nova the aerial trait, which makes him a really fun hero because he has access to aerial right from the start, so you can put the cool aerial cards in his deck. I didn't with this particular game, but it is a good way to use Nova. And as it says, I can exhaust it as a hero resource to generate a wild resource, so I have to be careful not to use that in Alter Ego. So we're going to flip to hero form, and we're just going to immediately start off with a one way or another. It allows me to search the encounter deck for a side scheme, reveal it, and then draw 3 cards. So it does something bad, but then it does something very good. And I want to just find the easiest one to get rid of that I can. So there's a few easy ones in here, but we're going to go ahead and grab Bombardment. It comes in with 3 threat, and if it's still in play during the beginning of the villain phase, it's going to add an extra counter to the ship, but it's not still going to be in play when we get there, so we're not too worried about that. That comes into play with 3 threat. And I get to draw 3 cards. So I got Ms. Marvel, Champion's Mobile Bunker, and a Chance Encounter. This is all looking pretty nice. We're going to go ahead and put a Chance Encounter on this side scheme, so when it's cleared, I'm going to get to search my deck and discard pile for an ally and add it to my hand. I'm going to exhaust the helmet for a resource to get Justice Served onto the table, an upgrade that allows me to ready after I clear a scheme. Then I'm going to use Nova to remove 1 threat from Bombardment, leaving 2 threat on it. When I activate Nova, that readies the helmet. Then I'm going to use the helmet to play Clear the Area, remove 2 threat from a scheme, and if it clears it, I get to draw a card. It does clear it, so I get to draw a card, energy. I also get to trigger Justice Served to ready Nova, and I also get to trigger Chance Encounter to go find an ally. I'm going to go find one of my 3-card studs, the only one I haven't seen already in the first turn, Moon Girl. Add her to my hand. We're just going to go ahead and attack Drang for 1 with Nova. That brings him down to 13. I forgot to mention he starts with 14 hit points on his stage 2. That will ready the helmet. Then we're going to exhaust the helmet for 1 mental resource. Discard 2 copies of Connection to the World Mind for 2 more mental resources. We'll play Moon Girl, and for each mental resource used to pay for her, you get to draw a card. So she comes out, I get to draw 3 cards. Avengers Mansion, another Clear the Area, and Strength. Also, just realized I used generic counters instead of threat counters. Call back to my first ever video there. Well, let's just keep the good times rolling. We'll use Strength and Energy to bring out Nick Fury, and we'll use his option to draw 3 cards. So we very luckily got the 3-card stud in our opening turn. Very fun. We're going to use Force Field Projection to get another Justice Served on the table. We're going to use Avengers Mansion to pay for a Clear the Area, to remove the 2 threat from the main scheme, which will let us draw a card into the symbiote suit. That will also let us drop Justice Served to ready Nova. We'll use Nova to attack again for 1 damage, down to 12. That will ready the helmet. We'll use the helmet and the symbiote suit to get the Champion's Mobile Bunker on the table. I can exhaust that to draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. And then we're going to use Ironheart and Ms. Marvel to get Heroic Intuition down so that Nova is thwarting for 2. I really could have probably done this in a way that got Ms. Marvel on the table, and maybe I'll regret that because she is super good, but there was a lot of ways I probably could have played that first turn, and that's just kind of how that one went. Thankfully, we have chance encounters in here, so we should be able to get her back when we need to. Now I still have Nick and Moon Girl, and I'm really glad I have Nick, or at least some ally, because an expert, Drang comes out hitting for 4. Now I could have spent a mental and 2 punches to get rid of his spear. It gives him stalwart and +1 attack. I don't care about the stalwart, there's no stun or confuse in here. But the +1 attack is just that 1 more extra damage I'm going to be taking every turn. I'm planning on chump blocking as often as humanly possible. So hopefully that won't end up mattering, which is why I didn't make it a priority. But we will see. Now there's no threat, so we're just going to have Nick and Moon Girl attack to deal a total of 4 damage. Moon Girl takes 2 consequential, Nick takes 1. So we've attacked for 4. Drang is down to 8. And I think that is going to do it for our first turn. That was pretty darn fun. Not gonna lie. Okay, so we're gonna draw 5 cards. We have no more connections to the world mines, so we don't have that to look forward to. So I got a bunch of threat removal, some damage prevention, and a little bit of damage. So this force field projection, it's kind of unfortunate I drew it on the same turn I have Nick, because I'm obviously going to use Nick to block, but that is really good for preventing damage as well. Let's see how the villain phase goes. So step 1, we put 2 threat on terrestrial invasion. Use the right counters this time. We put 1 counter on the Badoon ship, which is charging up. And then Drang is going to attack us for 4 plus a boost. Of course, we're going to throw a Nick in front of it. And the boost card is a Badoon Grunt. You put it into play engaged with you, and then if there's no other minions engaged with me, which there is not, I'm going to get another encounter card for later in the round. That's nice. So Nick takes all the damage. He goes away, but he was going away anyway. Now the Badoon Grunt is going to attack us for 2. And this is fun. We'll use the force field projection. We'll use the helmet to pay for it. When a friendly character would take any amount of damage from an attack, which is what's about to happen to Nova, prevent 3 of it, so that'll prevent all the damage. If you pay for this card using a wild, which I just did, deal 3 damage to an enemy. So that will be enough damage to take out the Grunt. Man, Nova's so cool. That was awesome. And unfortunately now I have 2 encounter cards to deal with. So the one that came out with the Grunt and my new one. We're getting Power Siphon. When revealed, choose 1. I can either exhaust the Milano, spend 2 lightning resources, or discard a card at random from my hand. You know, I kind of don't mind discarding a card at random because my hand isn't that great this turn anyway. It's mostly threat removal, but I could use the Mobile Bunker to fix my hand a little bit, so that's less appealing. Don't have the 2 lightning resources, even if I wanted, so I will probably just exhaust the Milano. That seems fine. I don't really need the resource that much, so we'll do that. But we still have another card, so will I regret that choice? No, not really. Oppressive Armada, hinder 3, and I can exhaust the Milano to remove some threat. So, well, now I've got a bunch of threat to remove, and I have a bunch of threat removal in my hand, so it is fine. I have 4 threat goes on there. Now that Nova has 2 thwart, thanks to Heroic Intuition, we're going to exhaust to remove 2 threat from Oppressive Armada. Exhausting Nova will ready the helmet, and then I will use the helmet to pay for a clear the area, remove 2 threat from a scheme, and if it clears it, draw 2 cards, or draw a card. That goes away. I get to draw a card into a chance encounter. Ah, dang it. Wish I had that in my hand 1 second ago. Well, I'm not too concerned about the 2 threat, so let's go ahead and use the Champion's Mobile Bunker. We're going to draw 2 and maybe discard some of this threat removal in our hand. We drew more threat removal, and Jesse Alexander, his alter ego support that allows you to shuffle your connection to the world mines back into your deck and draw a card. Since both of them are my discard pile, I would kind of like to get that out, though going to alter ego against Drang is a little scary, so I don't have a way to prevent any of the threat accumulation. So I need to discard 2 cards. I don't have a target for chance encounter right now, and I don't need 3 Lightspeed Flights in my hand. Alright, since I drew this Jesse Alexander, I do want to give it a try. So I'm going to discard Pot Shot and Lightspeed Flight to get him on the table. I'm going to use Moon Girl's last activation to clear this threat. And we're gonna risk going to Alter Ego, and hopefully I don't lose this scheme. So she takes 2 consequential, so she goes away. So I got a Lightspeed Flight in my hand. I'm gonna go to Alter Ego. Gonna use Jessie, exhaust Jessie to shuffle a copy of Connection to the World Mine into your deck and draw a card. You really don't want to draw the Connection to the World Mine, because then the fact that it doesn't count towards your hand size doesn't really matter. Though you can still hold it till the end of the turn and it doesn't hurt you the way holding other cards could, so I guess it's fine either way. I draw and Unleash Nova Force. Well, I'll definitely be holding on to that for next turn, and I think I'm going to hold on to this Lightspeed Flight as well. I'm going to have a bunch of threat to remove, so I might as well keep a way to remove it. So that is going to be the end. Hopefully this wasn't a huge mistake. This deck should be really good at removing threat, but we have also seen most of our threat removal cards go past already. So we have 1 in our hand. All right, we're gonna draw up to 6. I'm keeping those 2 cards in my hand, so I get the Power in All of Us, another Chance Encounter, another Unleash Nova Force, and Quasar. Okay, kind of a weird order for that one. But I shouldn't complain after how awesome the first turn was. Plus, you always have the Mobile Bunker to fix any weird hands. Man, I love playing the champions. There's a reason I made that video a little while back about why I think they're the best team. Their cards are just so good. Love Moon Girl, love the Mobile Bunker. Go for Champions is a little too strong, and I don't think I put it in here. I think it's fine to use. I don't think I put it in this particular deck. All right, so we go to 2 threat goes on there. We get another counter on the ship, and I need to remember when he schemes, he's gonna put a 3rd one on there. So he's scheming for 2 plus Badoom Warlord. If this activation is an attack, it gets +2 boost icons. Okay, well that worked out. So he's only scheming for 2 more. So we're up to 4, and we get our 3rd counter, so that damage is coming soon. We only have 1 encounter card this turn, and it is, of course it is, Advance. The Villain Schemes. What are the chances? 2 plus 2 more is exactly enough to advance the scheme. Wow, that's some bad luck. Plus, it gets its 4th counter because he schemed, and I'll just go ahead and clear that and take the 2 damage now so I don't forget. Nova goes down to 8. And we move on to the next scheme, and every time, right? Every time. So 2A just resolves the charge up ability again, so we're already starting that back up. It has an 8 threat threshold, but it starts with 4. So you really start in the hole. Thankfully, we don't have any more encounter cards to resolve. And it's the same thing as before. It's going to charge up the ship, and you can exhaust the Milano to remove 3, which we might be doing this turn since it already has 4. And now we're really on the clock because we've only got 8 threat till we lose. And I probably can't risk flipping to Alter Ego again. But it's back to me, and while we're here, we'll go ahead and use Jessie to shuffle that other connection back in. So at least we've got both of those again. And if I'm really lucky, I won't draw it right now, and then next turn I can have a 7 hand size. That'll be cool. All right, I drew Skilled Investigator. All right, no reason to stay in Alter Ego. I could heal, but I don't think I need to. Though I better find a chump blocker because I've got a lot of damage coming my way. Kind of a weird spot with my hand. I have both my Unleash Nova Forces, but no targets to use really to make use of it. All I'm going to be able to do is clear the main scheme. So it is technically still worth playing, but it's a little less exciting than it could be. I'm going to go ahead and get the Skilled Investigator on the table. That's always nice. I'm going to use the bunker, but I'm a little nervous. I'm just going to end up drawing my Connection to the World Mines. It's going to be kind of a waste. Under Surveillance. Oh, very nice. And Pot Shot. Excellent. So both Connection to the World Mines are still in the deck. Now I have to discard 2 cards. Well, I don't need 2 Unleash Nova Forces. I don't know if I'm going to play 1 or not, but I can't play both. And we'll go ahead and get rid of the Power in All of Us. I've pretty much seen all of my good, expensive, basic cards come by. Nick, the Mansion, Symbiote Suit, Moon Girl, and Ironheart, and the Mobile Bunker. Yep, I've seen everything. So I don't need that anymore. So now I just have to decide, is it worth playing Unleash Nova Force? I'll get to draw a card and ready. So the card is essentially free. I might as well go ahead and play it. So I'll exhaust the helmet. To unleash Nova Force until the end of the round, each time Nova defeats an enemy or removes the last threat from a scheme, I get to ready him and draw a card. Well, that's only going to happen once, but it's still going to be nice. So let's go ahead and get all that threat off the scheme so I can ready and draw a card. We'll exhaust Nova to remove 2 of it. And that readies the helmet, and then that leaves 2 more threat to be removed. I'll use the helmet to play Lightspeed Flight. It doubles the number of wild resources, so it actually only costs 1, and I get to remove 3 threat from a scheme. Thanks to Unleash Nova Force, that will ready Nova and draw me a card. Power in all of us. It's alright. Let's go ahead and use the Milano, the Power in all of us, and a chance encounter to get Quasar on the board. His threat removal gets kind of wasted, but that's just how it worked out. And then I'm going to attack for 1 with Nova and 2 more with Quasar. Dealing 3 damage to Drang brings him down to 5. And since I attacked with Nova, that readies the helmet. And we're going to use the helmet and a pot shot to get under surveillance on to protect the planet here. That adds 4 threat threshold to the scheme, so now it can go up to 12 before we lose. That is very, very helpful. Now I'm kind of sad that Quasar is probably about to take a big hit here, but I think that's really my only option. We're going to ready up. And I'm already emptying my deck, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yep. And of course, both connection to the world mine, so I'm going to get to draw 2 more cards. But that does get me an extra bad one. So far, I think this is going well, though. As long as I can keep a blocker in front of Drang every turn, that's my main concern at this point. Just not taking those really big hits, because I don't really want to bother removing that spear if I don't have to, just to save myself 1 damage a turn. So I've got my hand here of one way or another, pot shot, some resources, and then I get to draw 2 more because of the world mines. More resources, and a chance encounter. Okay, this should actually work out pretty nicely. We just have to see how the villain phase goes first, of course, you never know. So Protect the Planet is getting 2 threat, and Badoon Ship is getting a counter. Drang is attacking for 4, and sorry Quasar, just brought you in, but can't be taking 4 more hits. And so the attack is for 4, 5, 6. So Quasar gone. And I have 2 encounter cards to resolve. First one is another Badoon Grunt, and since I don't have a minion engaged with me, I have to get another card. Great. And then I get Badoon Sentry. Oh, you couldn't have come out first? Retaliate 1 with 5 health. And an assault. Now Drang is attacking me again. Right. Goodness, this is gonna hurt. I really don't want to exhaust him to defend, because if he's exhausted, then I'm not gonna be able to ready the helmet for a second use. So I'm just gonna take this to the face. I'm at 8. He's attacking for 4 plus. This activation is an attack. It gains overkill, piercing, and range. Thankfully, none of that matters, and it's a 0 boost. So I just take 4. So down to 4. Oy. All right, back to me. I've got a lot to do, and now would be an excellent time to get a hold of a Unleash the Nova Force. So here's hoping. We're going to use one way or another to draw some cards. There still should be some side schemes left in here. There's quite a few in this encounter. We've got the Blockade that would have 4 threat on it. That's got potential. Spatial Positioning does basically nothing and only takes 3 to remove. So let's go ahead and grab that one. Just kind of put it right here. It's not going to be around for long, so I'm not too worried about it. And I get to draw 3 cards. Lightspeed Flight. Pot Shot. Come on, Unleash Nova Force. Chance Encounter. Okay, okay. We're still in a good place. We're going to put Chance Encounter on the Spatial Positioning. All right, if we're going to find an Unleash Nova Force this turn, we want to get to it as soon as possible. So we're going to use the Mobile Bunker to draw 2 more cards. Force Field Projection. And clear the area. Okay, still haven't found it. I just don't want to remove any of these targets until I've played that card, if possible. So I'm trying to draw as many cards as I can. Now I need to discard 2 cards. We'll discard the Force Field Projection and this other Chance Encounter we have in our hand. All right, we're going to go ahead and use the helmet to play Clear the Area to take 2 threat off the main scheme. It's going to let us draw a card. One more shot at getting Unleash Nova Force. Justice served. Okay. It's just not going to happen. All right, well then we're just going to go ahead and attack Drang for 1 with Nova, down to 4. That will ready the helmet. We'll use the helmet to get another Justice served on the table. And then we're going to use the Milano to play a Light Speed Flight to remove 3 threat. That will clear spatial positioning. A few things are going to happen here. I can kind of choose in the order. I'm going to be able to ready Nova. I'll go ahead and do that first by discarding Justice Served. Then I'm going to be able to search for an ally thanks to Chance Encounter. Well, Unleash Nova Force, there's one of them on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and grab Moon Girl, put that in our hand. Then I'm going to draw a card with Skilled Investigator. Unleash Nova Force, there it is. Unfortunately, I've taken 2 of the targets off the table to find it, but at least we're there now. We want to get Moon Girl on the table, so we're going to use a Genius and a Connection to the World Mind for 3 mentals. Get Moon Girl out. That's going to let us draw 3 cards. Light Speed Flight, Power in All of Us, and Nick Fury. Now we are rolling. Power in All of Us and Energy is going to bring out Nick. We'll draw 3 more cards. Ms. Marvel, Power in All of Us, and Force Field Projection. I'm going to move my Skilled Investigator down here because I'm going to need room. I'm going to pay 1, 2, 3 for Ms. Marvel. Now I better play that Unleash Nova Force before I forget. So I'll use the Connection to the World Mind to play Unleash Nova Force. Now when I kill something, I draw cards, and it has to be Nova. If I use an ally to do it, it doesn't count. So the first thing I'm going to do is attack Drang for 1 with Nova, just to ready the helmet. Gets him down to 3. Then I'm going to use the helmet to play a Pot Shot, deal 4 damage to an enemy. I'll kill the Badoon Grunt. That will let Nova ready and draw a card into a one way or another, which I've already played this turn, so I can't play another. Another turn where I've played the whole 3-card stud. And for the record, I know in poker terms that's not like an actual thing. I just thought the name sounded cool, so that's all that is. We're also going to use Ms. Marvel. She can exhaust to return an event to your hand after you play it, and she takes a damage for doing that. Let us not forget that. I'm going to have Nick soften up the Sentry. Puts 2 damage on him, and then Nick takes 1 for the activation and 1 for the retaliate, but that's fine as long as he's around for the end of the round. That's all I care about. We'll use Nova to keep chipping away at Drang, so he's down to 2, which will ready the helmet. And I just remembered what happens when you flip Drang to his side 3, so let's do that now before I make any more choices. We're gonna have Moon Girl hit him for 2, which will be enough to flip him. And so he goes to 0, and then he goes up to 18. And when he's revealed, you discard the top 4 cards of the encounter deck per player, and each time a minion is discarded this way, I'm going to get that minion, so better to do that now before I use up all my cards. So first card is not a minion. I kind of hope I get at least 1. 2, no. 3, yes, so it's a beefy one. The Badoon Warlord. And 4 is an assault. So I got 1. And now we just have 18 damage to kill Drang. He's scheming for a little more, and now every single time he activates, I put a counter on the ship, so it charges up even faster. Gotta make sure I remember to do that. So it's gotta do 18 damage. Not gonna happen this turn, I don't think, but hopefully next turn. Oh, I should have exhausted this when I cleared that scheme. Doesn't really matter, but... Alright, so now I'm still in an Unleash Nova Force turn. Would have been, if I had used Nova to finish Drang off in that way, I would have gotten to ready and draw a card, but I just wanted to make sure I knocked him out early. I wanted to see how many minions I was going to get. So that's why I did it that way. So let's just keep the good times rolling. We're going to use the helmet to play Pot Shot again for 4 damage, knock out the Warlord. That will ready Nova and draw a card into the mansion. No reason not to just keep chipping away at Drang with Nova. Down to 17. Readies the helmet. We'll exhaust the helmet to play Pot Shot for 4 more damage on the Badoon Sentry, knocking him out. He doesn't retaliate since he's knocked out. I get to ready Nova and draw a card to clear the area, which has no targets. Now I have 3 cards in my hand I can't play. It's so close though, because I can attack with Nova, 1 more damage to Drang, down to 16. It's gonna ready the helmet, and then it leaves me 1 resource shy of playing the mansion. Now it's almost tempting to flip to Alter Ego again, but there's a few reasons why I'm not going to. 1, I have Nick, so I'd hate to waste the block. 2, even if I flip down and use Jesse to put a connection back in and draw a card, I can't use the helmet in Alter Ego, so I'll still be short 1 resource to play the mansion. And I don't have the right mix of resources to get rid of the spear because it requires 2 punches, and I have 3 mentals in my hand and 1 wild, so that's not an option either. So that was a really fun turn, but it is gonna kind of end somewhat anticlimactically. I think I am gonna keep one way or another and clear the area in my hand. We don't really need the mansion, but I probably gonna want to play those, so we'll hold on to them. Ready everything up. We got Nick and Moon Girl and Ms. Marvel. Drang is at 16. I'm still at 4, so there's still some scary potential here, but I got a lot of blockers. I am gonna take 2 from the ship. I might have to consider putting that somewhere. We'll see when we get there. Okay, so we're putting 2 on Protect the Planet. 1 goes on the Badoon ship, and then when he activates against me, it's gonna get another one here in a second. He's attacking for 4 plus a boost. Nick's gonna jump in front. Shadow of the Past is the boost, so nothing bad happens there. There are boosts that give him like overkill and stuff, so we're still in some danger. And the Badoon ship is gonna get its 4th counter, which means I'm taking 2 indirect damage. So if I wanted to, I could put 1 on Ms. Marvel or Moon Girl and then take the rest. Oh, I forgot to draw my hand. Whoops. Chance encounter, Pot Shot. Say that could really inform my choice here, because if I feel like I could kill him, then I wouldn't care as much about the damage. All right, I'm just gonna take it. I'm gonna go down to 2. That's scary. I'm at 2. I still have an encounter card to resolve. It is Special Delivery. You may exhaust the Milano. If you do not, the villain attacks you with +1 attack. Pretty sure I'm gonna exhaust the Milano, because even if I throw Moon Girl in front of it, if he gets one of those boosts that gives him overkill, I'm dead. So we're just gonna exhaust the Milano to avoid that. Would have been nice to have access to the resource, but not that big of a deal. Okay, now can we knock him out this turn, because at 2 health, I don't like hanging around any longer than I need to. All right, first thing we're gonna do is play One Way or Another. Hopefully there's at least 1 side scheme left. I usually keep track, but I totally forgot. Yes, okay, whew. That would have been an unfortunate waste of a resource. All right, so the blockade comes in with Crisis and 4 threat. And I get to draw 3 cards. Get a Justice Served, a Lightspeed Flight, and clear the area, so threat will not be an issue. Really, I'm just looking for as many ways to deal damage as possible here. We're gonna go ahead and put a chance encounter out on the blockade. We're gonna use the helmet to play Unleash Nova Force. Hopefully that gets us exactly what we need to finish the job here. We're gonna use Nova to clear 2 threat from the blockade, leaving 2 and readying the helmet. We're going to use the helmet to play Clear the Area, which will remove 2 threat, which means I get to do all the fun things. I get to draw a card from Clear the Area, I get to draw a card for Skilled Investigator, and I'm going to go find an ally. I'll get the ally first. We'll go ahead and grab Nick for the damage potential. Then we're going to draw a card for Clear the Area and for Skilled Investigator. One way or another, the symbiote suit, I also get to ready Nova and draw another card for Unleash Nova Force. Let us not forget. That was pretty cool. If you're looking for a fun Nova deck to play, I think I got you covered. This has been really cool. I'll definitely post it in the notes if you're interested. Okay, now that we've got some cards in our hand that we can't play, let's go ahead and use Champion's Mobile Bunker. Draw 1 Iron Heart. That empties our deck again. Gets us an encounter card. Really hoping it doesn't matter, but we'll see. Still have 16 damage to do. And I don't feel like doing the math ahead of time, so I just want to see how it plays out. Alright, so I still owe another card. Connection to the World Mind, I don't get to draw another. I have to discard 2 cards. I can't play another one way or another. And I don't need the Justice Served because I'm already readying every time I clear schemes, so that's fine. I'm going to use a Strength, a Connection to the World Mind, and Light Speed Flight because I'm just not going to need the threat removal to get the Symbiote Suit down. So that's going to put me at 12 health, which is a lot more comfortable. It's going to get me an extra encounter card if I don't win this turn, but that's all right. It also increases my stats by 1 each. So now I attack for 2, knock Drang down to 14. That readies the helmet. Okay, can we do enough damage here? We're going to use the helmet to play Clear the Area, move 2 threat from here. That's going to draw a card for Clear the Area, as well as Ready Me and draw a card for Unleash Nova Force. We're going to use Energy, Lightspeed Flight, and Ironheart to bring Nick Fury into play. And this time we're going to use his option to do 4 damage. Knocks him down to 10. Going to go ahead and attack with him, bring him down to 8. Attack with Nova, bring him down to 6. That'll ready the helmet. We'll use the helmet to play a pot shot for 4 more. He's down to 2. And we'll exhaust Ms. Marvel, deal a damage to her. Keep the pot shot in our hand, but it's not going to matter because then Moon Girl can attack for 2. You can barely see her off the side of the camera there, but she was here this whole time. And that is going to be just enough to finish Drang off and Expert. Man, that was a really fun game. Nova is so good. The Symbiote Suit didn't really make much of a difference there. I think it did 1 or 2 extra damage. But if we hadn't won, at least we would have had the extra health buffer there. But just being able to use those 3 cards, one way or another, Nick and Moon Girl, to constantly be drawing cards, just filling up our hand, using it to control the board and just chip away at Drang. This is exactly the kind of game I like to play. That was a lot of fun. I really, really like this deck. That worked out well. Now, like I said at the beginning, this was a good matchup for it, so maybe it wouldn't work quite so well against a villain with fewer side schemes, fewer minions, things like that, but that's all right. It was a fun deck either way. I think it still worked pretty well, though. It just has a lot of answers. It does damage well. It certainly removes the threat well, which is great for solo. So there you go, just a fun game on a Thursday morning. I want to thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, I just asked if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Those help me a lot more than you might realize. And I hope you'll join me next time we get up in game. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.